The gaming industry as we once knew it has seen a lot of change over recent years, but find out why certain companies are looking to abandon ship on their old ways. Up next. What's going on, guys? It's Kalo, and I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. Drop a like on the video, and welcome to the Level Up. I think it's pretty safe to say here, the gaming industry as a whole has changed in so many ways over recent years. I mean, hey, look back to when I first started posting videos on this here YouTube channel. And if you compare that to now, it's honestly just night and day. But I think that's the biggest red flag, seeing how I started posting videos a little over a year ago. And what this exactly tells you is the gaming world is far from being a healthy one. Then I think this raises questions on the current business practices from all the big console makers. And it's honestly not only that, it's the future of the console industry as we know it. Now, over recent months, we've seen companies like Xbox adapt more of this multi-platform approach and release games like Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, and Grounded on competitor consoles. And wouldn't you know it, I was just kind of scanning the latest and greatest gaming headlines, and I came across potentially another company looking to follow suit. Now, before we dive into this, I want to note a few things here because the subject matter at hand is rather divisive. First up, this article is coming from IGN, and I know the internet has thoughts and opinions on them as a platform, and you guys got every right to think the way you do. Second, this is also talking about PlayStation releasing first-party games on the PC, which again is something we've talked about before. But the analysts mentioned within the article indicate the industry as a whole is changing, and it's changing fast. And they even went as far to state, quote, "The entire industry is resetting to the commercial reality with some companies realizing they have overexpanded, become unfocused in their strategies, or become overstretched financially." And this, of course, is alluding to AAA gaming budgets, and the fact that things on that front have severely gotten out of hand. And this is all relative to how much these games cost to make. Now, at some point within this article, they bring up this idea with every console generation comes a period where things begin to stagnate. The PS5 is selling insanely well, and I really don't want to take away anything from that console, but when comparing those numbers to that of the PS4, by the numbers, the PS4 is still outselling the PS5, which, when you look at things through a company lens, this is something they stress over. And this is without mentioning the Xbox Series X and S too. Hardware sales on that front are pretty much in the same situation, and honestly, I'd argue things are worse, and they might have even dropped off. Now, why on earth is that a problem? Well, with console sales dropping or remaining on this flat line, or in some cases slightly less, and budgets to make these games that are going on those expensive consoles are only going up. AKA, this is just one big shitstorm brewing. Big gaming budgets only tend to work whenever your fan base is growing. The more people that buy your console, the more people buy your games. And boom, you got a pretty good return on investment. And you can close those margins ever so slightly. Now, companies have seen this occurring and have at the very least attempted to fix the problem, or in some cases just put a small band-aid on it. Some have tried raising prices or cutting down budgets, which again, that could all work. But both Xbox and potentially now PlayStation have been looking to expand their games beyond the console platform. And this is what one analyst had to say on the matter. Quote, "While pure console exclusives still go some way towards driving console sales, more so for Nintendo than others, it has become clear that gamers now expect to be able to play games on a variety of devices. Even in Japan, where the console has traditionally been dominant and 41% of gamers played on the console in the past year, only 14% of gamers exclusively play on console, according to our 2023 survey of Japanese gamers." Now, if you were following reports as of late, PlayStation is in fact looking to bring more first-party games to the PC later this year, and made moves to get studios and companies that have experience in the PC world, much like Nexus. And if we strictly look at the game side of things for PlayStation, releasing a game like Helldivers 2 day and date on PC went over great for them. So I think they should learn from that and adapt this strategy moving forward. The writing for this has been on the wall for what seems like years now. It was more or less up to these companies to bite the bullet and change their ways. But this leaves us with yet another question. What about console gaming? Now, by the sound of this all, it seems like everything and anything will be on the PC, which would negate the need to own a console. But hold your horses, this analyst says this isn't the case. Quote, none of the companies can afford to exit the console market as a platform holder without significantly reducing their games revenue, so I expect them all to remain committed to the console market for years to come. Now they went on here to talk about how Xbox is experimenting with a handheld console and things like that. Now I think the thing this article is trying to get at here is looking at the old definition of a console and what the new term of a video game console could possibly mean. We've seen this happen with the Switch. That is a console tried and true, but it's one you can take with you on the go and still experience, at least to some degree, the same type of play as you would sitting on the couch. So moving forward, blurring the lines between a stationary gaming console that you could play on your couch and a fully mobile next-gen device might be the way moving forward. And I do believe at some point at the very least, and again, this is all me trying to be positive here, both Xbox and PlayStation will have a dedicated handheld in their console lineup. And you might be saying, what about Nintendo? This is also why I think a company like Nintendo has been one that was left out of this conversation, because they pretty much have some of these things in check. The Switch continues to sell and sell this far into its life cycle, and Nintendo's quote-unquote big games, like a Tears of the Kingdom, still tops the charts with a smaller budget. And that's all being compared to something like Spider-Man 2. But with all that being said, I'm gonna pass this question off to you guys. What do you make of the gaming industry as it stands right now? And if you were in charge of this whole madness we call the gaming world, what are some of the things you would change if you see there's any changes to be made? But that about does it here. I've been K-Lo, I gave you the lowdown on all things gaming. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. Drop a like on the video, and this has been the Level Up.